Not pulling straight down. Not pulling straight down. Stay tight, move out. Change your height, change your height. Come on now. Back on the jab,
Step out on the jab now.
Step on the round.
Out the corner.
Step on the round. There we go. Step on the round. Back to the jab. Back to the center now. We want to keep it in the center.
Let's go. Stop talking.
There we go. Keep it in the center. I want 2s and 3s, baby. 2s and 3s. Head movement. Can't stay right there.
Keep moving your head.
Travel more than the jump.
Come up. See how he's down there? Run.
Devin Haney, known to be an expert in technical abilities and fight IQ, is now exhibiting rage in his new training videos, indicating that he is not only training to fight Norman in a boxing match, but also deploying his physical strength. Instead, Norman has been demonstrating toughness in his camp, appearing to be bent on trying to demonstrate the ability to keep pace with the champion, even surpassing him, with his own version of grit and pressure. The two fighters are training, and this leaves no uncertainty that this confrontation is very personal.
As you see here, the best welterweight in the world, the WBO undefeated welterweight world champion, knockout artist, highlight reel, Brian Norman Jr., preparing for his mega showdown, the biggest fight of his career.
Knockout power is one of the biggest causes, as Brian Norman Jr. has established himself as one of the most dangerous young punchers in the boxing world. His shots are explosive and he can deliver them with a snap, which makes every punch count. His uniqueness is that he can create power at the most unforeseen angles, and that would leave the opponents off guard and leave them in fights abruptly. Devin Haney was not very excited when questioned on the recent knockout win of Brian Norman Jr. He also recognized that Norman exhibited power and did what was expected of him, but was quick to remind the fans that the degree of opposition is important. Haney has mentioned that it was a person he had never heard of, even though he was a fan of boxing at all times.
Did he knock him out? Did he show strength? Absolutely. But was it against a guy that we've never heard of, or that I've never heard of at least? And I watch boxing 24/7. I watch all these fights. I never heard of that guy. He's not a guy at the elite level. So did he do what he's supposed to do against him? Absolutely, he did good. He knocked him out and he showed power. But that was against a guy that is not at the top level. I've been fighting the top guys, the best of the best, for years now.
Devin Haney clarified that the strategy when entering into a fight is greatly determined by his opponent. He clarified the fact that it is not pure ability that predominates in boxing, but rather adaptability and intelligence. Haney emphasized that every fighter is different and a champion must adjust his style to suit them instead of using one game plan. He said, "We've got to see styles make fights. You don't fight everybody the same." Norman does not apply brute force alone. Rather, his timing and accuracy are what add to the harm. Such a finishing skill instills fear in an opponent, since any one mistake can spell doom against him. His strength is a true leveler in any battle. Brian Norman Jr. boldly would not accord Devin Haney any credit before they met. To him, Haney is not adding anything to the table that impresses him. Norman rejected the notion that Haney is a great guy, proclaiming that he was the more rounded fighter. His combination of speed, power, and never-ending pressure gives Norman the belief that he can show lapses in style and dominate the fight.
So what's the one thing you think Devin does well that's gonna be a challenge for you?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. So what's the one thing you think that will be a challenge for him to deal with you?
I say everything. I'm a whole complete fighter at you. Give me whatever you think your best is.
The competition between Haney and Norman did not occur in one day. It has now grown beyond words exchanged, and competitive fire spilled to open-air areas. Haney is a multiple-time world champion, and as such, he is a technician of the pinnacle of the sport, whereas Norman has been trying to make a name as someone to reckon with. Their rivalry has created a rivalry that has more of a business instrument than a personal rivalry, motivated by ego and pride. It is not a gentle battle of the hand. This is a battle of scores to settle and a battle of dominance. Robert Garcia gave a nuanced but interesting opinion on the impending battle between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. He recognized the threat that Norman poses by mentioning how the young competitor has been a thundercloud by knocking out opponents and doing his business in a persuasive style.
For him, a lot that he has to prove the world, and I think we're gonna get the best out of Haney. I think we're gonna get the best Haney out there. Norman is a dangerous opponent, and I think that's gonna bring the best out of Haney. I can't wait for the fight. Actually, you know, we've seen Norman take care of business pretty not easy because they're fights, but you know, convincingly knocking guys out, hurting people. He beat my guy in a way I never expected it to be.
Meanwhile, Garcia left no doubt that this fight will be the best in the life of Haney, long since shown to be at the pinnacle of performance. And in the case of Garcia, the actual fascination is whether the raw power and momentum of Norman can be countered by the skills and experience of Haney. He was excited as he confessed that he is not waiting to see how everything will be.
So he's doing his job, but against Haney, the fight's gonna be a great fight. Haney, I give credit to Haney for taking this fight at this moment, and you know, I just can't wait, man. It's November is gonna, you know, can't wait, because it's gonna be a great month for a great fight of boxing.
This battle is yet another step in Haney making a name as one of the iconic fighters of his time. He has heard the reproaches made of him, of his style being too cautious, of his incapacity in finishing. But in this contest, he can make a display of his whole armory. It can be argued that he is trying to silence those doubts with an assertive performance as indicated by his explosiveness in training, and no one will question his superiority. Blair Cobbs gave his honest assessment of the fight involving Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., and how Norman will manage dealing with the style Haney brings. Cobbs said that the trick that Norman will have is to be able to get Haney to come forward, or he will not be able to do so, and Haney can move around and be the brains of the fight by his movement and the ring intelligence.
The fight with Devin Haney is going to be very interesting. I wonder what's going to happen with this Brian Norman character, because if I swear to God, if he doesn't figure out a way to make Devin Haney come forward, and Brian is not very much of have very much agility. You know, he's not much of a runner. Like, you know what I'm saying? He kind of like a stationary fighter, honestly. And he's a stationary fighter, and he can't really do much.
Blair Cobbs reiterated what he had said concerning Brian Norman Jr., but his message was a combination of praise and doubt. He knew about Norman and his roughness and brute strength, but he said that the young boxer has something of a grit and roughness which makes him a dangerous guy in the ring. Even Cobbs wrote of the hands and strength of Norman, how they were of the kind that had been reared in hard work, and that he was innately tough.
Against Devin Haney, I think Brian Norman's a terrific fighter. He's very, very strong. He got that Alabama fucking just fresh out the goddamn slavery fucking cotton gin shit. like he was just picking cotton yesterday. His ass is ready. His hands look like they've been fucking ran through a freaking garbage disposal, all kinds of shit. The dude is tough. He's tough. He's very strong. but is it going to be enough for somebody like Devin Haney? I think that he's going to get drowned in rounds as he tries to figure out a way to land a big punch.
Blair Cobbs talked with confidence regarding the way a fight with Brian Norman Jr. would unfold, and it is apparent that he does not view Norman as invincible. He told me that when he got Norman on long range, he could do him progressively until he was sure to get him down. He added, "He gets knocked out if he fights me because I'll catch him at long range like that. He gets knocked out because he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt, and then he'll just keep getting hurt." He's not unbeatable, unbreakable. I've seen him get hurt. In this battle, however, Norman enters with a hunger that is hard to gauge. To him, this is not merely a matter of ascending the hierarchy, but rather of busting down the gates of the elite and stamping his name on the wall. He has been walking with the posture of a person who does not want to be ignored, and the rivalry with Haney has only heightened his drive. He sees this as his opportunity to upset the boxing world, to get a well-proven champion off track, and to declare to the world that he is a legitimate contender at the top tier. Whereas Devin Haney ensured that he is not intimidated by the physical countenance of Brian Norman Jr., that boxing is not about who has the biggest muscles. Haney made it clear that it is his ability, accuracy, and the intelligence of his rings that will get him through rather than sheer strength or build. To him, the power of Norman might be flashy on the outside, but it will not match a highly polished champion who has years of competing at the top.
So I will show him that, power is good, muscle is good. You got a lot of muscles, but muscles don't win fights at the high level. At the best of the best, no matter how much muscles you got, how much power you got, I will show him.
The fact that Haney has a refined craft will challenge Norman with the tenacity and the differences in styles is one of the most interesting aspects. It is well known among the fans that Haney can set the pace, determine the distance, and frustrate adversaries, but Norman takes the bull by the horns. Can he keep off Haney, or will he draw him into a dogfight? Brian Norman Jr. came out with an unrefined, uninhibited confrontation that went directly at Devin Haney and made the enmity between the two personal. Norman brushed off the question of the quality of his former opponents and positioned the fight as the time when Haney would be called upon to respond to his own reputation.
I mean, look at what's on my shoulder. So I had been to this level before, but let's say you're saying you never knew the opponents that I have. Okay, you are very, very well known. So after I knock your block off, then what? It don't matter what Devin Haney trying to do. I'm not fighting Devin Haney, he is fighting me. You feel me? So at the end of the day, this is my show. I'm going to do my thing, and we fight in my fight.
Brian Norman Jr. redoubled his confidence and gave a detailed account of how he sees himself defeating Devin Haney. He identified himself as a multi-skilled fighter who can fit any situation, be it boxing, brawling, or counterpunching. Norman replied that he is ready to put all his weapons on the table. However, that was not all the boxing talk he gave. He became playful and gave him a daring offer to have a WrestleMania-style battle.
How do I defeat Devin Haney? By going out there being Brian Norman Jr. I bring it all to the table. I can box, I can brawl, I can counterpunch, I can do this, and I can do that. Whatever the case may be, we can get into all of that. Matter of fact, since they were trying to wrestle in tug yesterday, I challenged him to a wrestling match at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? You got me, Devin, you got me, my pops, and Jolene Bazone, that's my bodyguard, versus Devin Haney, Bill, and his bodyguard. Let's make it happen.
Then Devin Haney answered a question that many fans have been asking. Why Brian Norman Jr.? Haney said it was no accident. It was confronting the guy who, on paper, is the WBO holder and regarded as the best at 147. In assuming the role of Norman, he is demonstrating that he would like to challenge the champion in his weight category and establish himself as one of the pound-for-pound greats in the sport.
Brian Norman. Why Brian Norman? I mean, people are saying that, it's high risk, low reward in the sense that you're the champion. You got the resume. You're the A side in the name. Why Brian Norman?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really the champion. But he's the champion on paper. So right now he's a champion, and it's just, he's the best guy at 147. And you guys know that's the type of fighter I am. I want to fight the best fighters in the world. The guys who y'all think are something, I want to prove that I'm better. And so that's all it is. It's a guy at the weight class that I'm going up to. So I'm taking on the toughest task that they say is, and I'm gonna show the world.
There is a split, both among analysts and fans, over the outcome of this fight. Others think that Haney is too disciplined, too good at making rings, and his jab and motion will be more than enough to discourage the aggression of Norman. Quader Albright, who sparred with Brian Norman Jr., was frank about the upcoming encounter with Devin Haney. He acknowledged that sparring does not necessarily give the whole picture, but going by his personal experience, he did not feel the kind of punch from Norman that others were discussing. Meanwhile, he did not disrespect disregard Norman in general and admitted that the fight night intensity cannot be compared to the sparring sessions.
I feel like Devin Haney got the edge in that fight. I mean, Norm, I don't know. Sparring and fighting is totally different, so I can't even say Norm don't got power, but I didn't feel his power. But with H on, it's probably a different story, so I don't know. Bro, I was playing around when I was sparring Brian Norman, honestly. I was off the couch just having fun. I was walking to him. Sometime I would box him. It didn't really matter.
Quader Albright elaborated on his ideas when he clarified that he does not see Brian Norman Jr. knocking down Devin Haney. Haney is too intelligent and too skilled to mean he should be caught clean in his eyes. He made it clear that Haney had enough IQ in his ring and movement to keep him on his feet and not the sort of repartee where Norman could have been of benefit with his power. He added, "I can't see Brian Norman knocking out Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney is too smart. He is going to stay on his feet. I don't think he's going to be there. And Norman is going to be able to cut the ring. That's just my opinion." Regis Prograis was not shy in giving his assessment on the Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. match, though he even went to the extent of stating that he would bet on Haney to win. Prograis acknowledged that the Haney style is not necessarily the most entertaining, and sometimes borders on the boring, but he emphasized that it was very effective at the elite level.
If I had to put money, I would bet money on Devin. I mean, I fought him and I know how good he is, and it's like he's a good boxer. We cannot take that away from him that he is a good boxer. You know, he knows how to not to get hit. You know, no matter if he makes it boring. Now, we're not saying that, but you know, same thing with Ramirez. He just, you know, he moved around, he ran around. You could say run around. He ran around the ring for 12 rounds. Same thing with me. He had good feet, you know, and he just know how to move out the way. So I think that's what he's gonna do. So
he commended the footwork, defensive awareness, and the ability to move out of danger as demonstrated by Haney, a set of traits that he thinks will be frustrating to Norman throughout the entire fight. Prograis also referred to the resume of Haney, who is way ahead of Norman in terms of opposition and achievements. To him, no matter what critics may think of Haney, the record speaks volumes.
But I mean, and then you gotta think, bro, resumes matter. Like, whose resume is better, Brian Norman's or Devin Haney's? I mean, I think like a lot of people hate Devin Haney so much because of, you know, I think maybe outside stuff and they don't really know him. But like, bro, you gotta, at the end of the day, like, I don't have to like you, but I gotta respect it. And like, you gotta look at his resume, bro. Devin got a resume. Brian Norman don't have a resume like Devin.
And that is all you need. Regis Prograis has not only gone twice to Devin Haney, but has even declared he would put his money where his mouth is. He feels that the skill, footwork, and world resumes of Haney will overwhelm Brian Norman Jr. But what do you think? Will it be Haney and his experience and architecture of rings, or will it be Norman and his shock of the new and the silencing of the scolds? Chuck in your predictions in the comments section. Give that like button a tap in case you like the breakdown, and do not forget to subscribe to get even more knowledge about the fight night. It is a clash of guns you will not want to miss.